Today, we're going to talk about something you've probably done 1,000 times without even thinking about it, buying a digital video game. But, that simple click, it hides this massive shift in what it even means to own something anymore. So let's just dive right in. You see a game you want, you click purchase, and boom, it's in your library. It seems so straightforward, right? But the real question we're digging into is, what did you actually get for your money? The answer is way more complicated, and honestly, it's a lot more troubling than you'd think. For years, the standard line from the industry has been, oh, when you buy a digital game, you're just buying a license to play it. It's kind of presented as this fact of life, right? This little digital loophole that we, the players, just have to live with. And, well, most of us do. We hear, it's just how digital works, and we just shrug and get back to gaming. But something about that explanation, it just doesn't feel right, does it? It doesn't sound like the whole story, and more than that, it just doesn't line up with the basic idea of buying something. Okay, so let's push back on that a little bit. Not with a big argument, but just with some simple, common sense logic. Because the second you do, that whole official explanation starts to fall apart. And this is it. This is the question that changes everything. I mean, isn't the whole idea of shopping, of commerce, built on this one simple fact? When you buy something, you then own it? That's the normal built-in expectation we all have. The industry is using the language of buying, but the result? It doesn't match the words. And think about it. In literally every other part of our lives, this is true. You buy a physical thing, a CD, a book, whatever, and it's yours. It's yours to keep forever, to lend to a friend. You can even sell it if you want. That's what ownership is. So why on earth is digital gaming the one weird exception to a rule we've had for centuries? To really see what's happening here, all you need is a simple comparison. Let's just take a quick look at how the music industry handled this exact same kind of digital shift. We all remember the old way of doing things with music, right? We bought CDs, they were ours, we owned them, it was crystal clear, super simple, and everybody got it. Then, of course, the world moves to streaming. But, and this is the absolute key difference, companies like Spotify were totally upfront about it. They told us straight up, this is not ownership. You are paying for access to our library. The deal was different, and they made sure we all knew it. The video game world didn't do that. They kept using all the old words, buy, purchase, own this item, which all implied ownership. But behind the curtain, they had switched to this new reality of a license that they could revoke at any time. And that's the core of the problem right there. And this wasn't some accident or a slow, organic change. No, this was a very specific and very unannounced move. You could call it the silent switch. For decades, buying a game meant you owned it, period. Then, at some point, and this is the crazy part, a point that was never announced or explained to anyone, that definition just changed. There was no big press release, no warning on the store page. They just flipped a switch behind the scenes from ownership to access. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? They simply changed the definition of buying behind the scenes while using the same language. This wasn't some loophole they found. It was a choice, a deliberate change that was hidden by using familiar, comfortable words. So what's the actual impact of all this? Well, it leads to this huge break in trust with us, the consumers. Why? Because the expectations we built up over decades were just quietly destroyed. So the bottom line is this. People spend their hard-earned money thinking they were buying and owning a product, which is a totally reasonable assumption. They were never given a real choice or even a clear explanation of the new rules. They were just shuffled into a new system without their knowledge and without their consent. And let's be really clear about the scale we're talking about here. This isn't some tiny little hobby. The global gaming market is an absolute financial monster. So this isn't just a philosophical thing. It's about a massive breach of trust in an industry that's worth hundreds of billions of dollars. So let's just pull this all together. Once you peel back all those layers of, oh, that's just how it is, you find a very clear, very powerful insight at the center of it all. Here it is, the whole argument in 4 simple points. 1, the industry changed its business model. 2, they did it in secret. 3, they kept using words that meant the exact opposite of the new model. And 4, because of all that, we, the consumers, were fundamentally misled about what we were spending our money on. It's that simple. So maybe we need a new definition in the dictionary.
In the world of modern gaming, the word buy has been completely twisted to mean something else. It's not about actually getting something, it's about getting temporary, conditional permission.
And that really just leaves us with one final kind of provocative thought. If that giant buy now button on the screen is using a word that isn't true, what should it say? License access now? Rent indefinitely? It really makes you stop and wonder what else we're clicking on every day without actually understanding what we're getting.
Hey, what's good, guys? CMB613 here. You're on dismantling the narrative, and I just found something out and figured something out. So I started a class action lawsuit. I'm looking into it, anyways. I had no idea that gaming switched abruptly out of nowhere, I guess, and you don't own anything anymore. Like, I don't know how that happened or when they sent out a memo that this started happening, but I was never told about it whatsoever. Like, with CDs and DVDs and stuff like that, when you go to Spotify, you know what you're getting into. Gaming didn't do that. Gaming abruptly just changed the terms of service on all of gaming. Like, what? You can't do that. No. I am starting a class action lawsuit. They can't just do that. And now, like, I don't own things inside of games that I pay for? And because it's digital? What? No. If I sell someone a PDF file or something like that, I can't they own that. That's how that works. Just like games, they are assets all put together a certain way, and that's why I pay money for it. Because of the way those assets are put together. You don't just get to change the terms of service abruptly and not tell anybody and get away with that. No, that's not how this works. I can't believe no one has noticed this. I can't believe, like, yeah, that's why it was kept so quiet. Like, no, that doesn't work for me whatsoever. Whatsoever. Like, I can't believe this. This is crazy, guys. Like, how did we not see this? What is going on? Like, how did they think they would get away with this? You can't just change everything out of nowhere without telling anybody. Selling games the same way like you used to, calling them for sale and when they're not. I mean, this is crazy. I can't believe this, and I just found this out today. I've spent so much money on games like Fortnite not knowing this because nobody tells you this. This is unbelievable. Yeah, I've gotten a hold of a few lawyers. I'm starting a class action lawsuit because this is not right whatsoever. This is crazy. Yeah, comment down below, like and subscribe.